Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Om Vishnu Padmanam Srivajagataya Tirtha Kashisamaya Sabhaichanavinda Bhakti Vedanta Samshila Prabhupada Om Vishnu Padmanam Srivajagataya Tirtha Kashisamaya Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Srila Prabhupada Ananta Koti Vaishnavindra Ki Sama Veda Bhakti They go over Vimanande
Haribo
All glories to Samabha
Hare Krishna
All glories to Samabha
Hare Krishna
All glories to Samabha
Hare Krishna
All glories to Shri Guru and Lord Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiriye Nastaprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Tamashloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
So welcome to Devasudha Mundir Srimad Bhagavatam class. On this very snowy day, we get the warmth of Srila Prabhupada's endless mercy by giving us this Grantha Raj Srimad Bhagavatam. So today we'll read from Canto 1, Chapter 3, text number 27. Good news for everybody. Want to hear good news? Short purport means short class. And does faster to prashadam.
Okay.
1.3.27. The title of the chapter, Krishna is the source of all incarnations. Rishayo manavo deva Manuputra Mahojasaha Kala sarve harereva Saprajapataya smitaha Rasayo manavo deva Manuputra Mahojasaha Kala sarva harereva Saprajapataya smitaha Rasaya manavo deva Manuputra Mahojasaha Kala sarva harereva Saprajapataya smitaha Rishayo manavo deva Manuputra Mahojasa Kala sarva hareva Saprajapataya smitaha Rishayo manavo deva Manuputra Mahojasa Kala sarva hareva Saprajapataya smitaha Rishayo manavo deva Manuputra Mahojasaha Kala sarva hareva Tasmayo Manavo Deva Manuputra Mahojasaha Kalaha Sarve Deva Rishaya, all the sages, Manava, all the Manus, Deva, all the demigods, Manuputra, all the descendants of Manu, Maha-Ojasa, very powerful, Kala, portion of the plenary portions, Sarve, all collectively, Hare, of the Lord, Eva, certainly, Sa Prajapataya, along with the Prajapatis, Shmita, are known. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki. All the rishis, Manus, demigods and descendants of Manu, who are especially powerful, are plenary portions or portions of the plenary portions of the Lord. This also includes the Prajapatis. Please repeat. All the rishis, Manus, demigods, and descendants of Manu, who are especially powerful, are plenary portions, or portions of the plenary portions of the Lord. This also includes the Prajapatis. Purport. Those who are comparatively less powerful are called Vibhuti, and those who are comparatively more powerful are called Avesha, incarnations. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshuru Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Pada Sagana Lavika Shri Vishakam Vitamscha Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostate Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusate Devi Vanamani Hari Priye Vancha Kalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavani Pashatale Shatayana Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktavranda Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. All the rishis, Manus, demigods, and descendants of Manu, who are especially powerful, are plenary portions or portions of the plenary portions of the Lord. This also includes the Prajapatis. So here we are nearing the end of, not end of the chapter, but the topic of presenting the different the different avatars of the Supreme Lord. So as has been explained many times, there are unlimited expansions of the Lord. And He comes in many, many different features and many different times, but all are prescribed according to Shastra. and according to the will of the Lord. So the Lord appears like this on scheduled terms. And what we discussed a few days ago, how beautiful Srimad Bhagavatam is. It's the only book known to mankind that speaks about the future with fact. Not with speculation, not with hypothesis, but with fact. You'll find no other book that can speak about the future factually. Because we know. We have no idea about the future. We don't even know, as we spoke a couple of days ago, what's going to happen in the next 5 minutes. But Srimad Bhagavatam tells us, 2,500 years before, that Lord Buddha will appear in this home, in this city, all the detail. And in 430,000 plus years, Kalki Avatar will come. Like this. Future proclamation. The appearance of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was also given in the 11th canto. So, the Srimad Bhagavatam is the factual conclusion. We know in the 3rd canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, the conversation between Devahuti and Kapil Muni. This development of the embryo in the womb. It's facts that nobody knew until very recently. With new technology, imaging technology. Until then, 70, 80 years ago, doctors had no clue what was happening in the womb of the mother. They were speculating. Maybe this is happening, maybe that is happening. But in Srimad Bhagavatam, it's given in detail. So this is the conclusive source of knowledge. So here, we get an explanation about some of the people called the Prajapatis. So we can start maybe from the beginning. So we know that Lord Brahma appeared on this lotus leaf, right? And when he appeared, everything was dark. Just he could hear the raging of the Garbha ocean. And he was not sure where he was, what he was supposed to do. And he engages in tapasya, hearing tap, 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 tap. And the conclusion of his tapasya was that he then had darshan of the Supreme Lord. And there it was explained to him what his role was. That you are here to create. But he is the secondary creator, because he was empowered by the Lord. So, when Lord Brahma appears, he has to create and he has to populate. So, first appeared the Sapta Rishis, the 7 great Rishis. Then the 4 Kumaras come. But the 4 Kumaras did not want to, enter into Grihastha life and populate the universe. So they went into austerity. Lord Brahma becomes mad, angry. And then from the forehead appears Rudra Tattva, Lord Shiva. So we see already, Lord Brahma has appeared from a lotus flower. Lord Shiva is appearing from the forehead of Lord Brahma, like this. So this process of creation is varied. We know one process, but it is actually varied. And then come the Manus, one Manu at a time. Right? So we know that during the day of Brahma, there are 14 Manus. And each Manu rules for this 71 Yuga cycles. And the Manus are the orchestrators of societal function. Okay? So they operate, there's the Manu Samhita, which gives great detail on how things should be orchestrated. Actually, the great kings, the Rajarshis, they were ruling not based on some man-made constitution, some man-made laws. They were ruling on the basis of the Manu Samhita. So how to take decisions based on different occurrences. Different circumstances would manifest during the time of the reign of a king, and so to understand what to do, how to solve this problem, how to resolve this conflict, how to render out punishment, when to enact war, when to enact peace. All these decisions had to be made. And so the kings, they would consult with the Brahmanas. And the Brahmanas would be very learned in the Manu Samhita and other Shastras, of course. But they would understand how things are supposed to be ordained. And so we know, in the day of Brahma, the first Manu is Swayambhava Manu. And as we'll get into Srimad Bhagavatam, we'll start seeing the descendants from them. And this Manu will, as I mentioned, reign for 71 Yuga cycles. And during that time, the posts, the positions of the demigods, will be occupied by different persons. So there is a Lord Indra during the reign of Swayambhava Manu. Then there's a Lord Indra during the next Manu, and the current Manu of Vaivasvata Manu. Also there is a Lord Indra. But it is occupied by different persons. Just like there's the post of president. But the president post is occupied by different persons. So similarly, the demigods are different posts occupied by different persons during this period. And then we have the Prajapatis. And what are the role of the Prajapatis? To create praja, to create population, to create and populate the world. So here we get a direct contradiction to Darwin. Right? Because Darwin theorized that first came the single-cell amoeba in the water, and then from there came different bacterias, and ultimately to fish, and fish came onto land, and then, it started with, monkeys, and all of a sudden became upright, and all this nonsense. And foolish people, very foolish people, will say, yeah, see, Krishna does the same. First he comes as Matsya avatar, then he comes as, Kurma avatar, then he comes as Varahadev, and like this, he is progressing. Then he comes as Krishna. Foolish. No. As we see, the Prajapatis, the Manus, the Rishis, they were the first in creation. Before anything else, before all other species of life. They were the first. And from that, this creation manifested. So now who are we going to believe? Some theory. What is a theory? It is a guess. It is a guess. Based on what we know, we make some guess. That's why it's called a theory. It's not called a fact. It's not called a law. It's called the theory of evolution. And in his own book, the Book of Origins, he says, this, he doesn't exactly say it this way, but I'll just paraphrase. He says, this logic makes a lot of sense, except for, I cannot explain the development of the retina in the eye by this evolution. That doesn't seem logical. So in his own book, he says there's a flaw in this theory. So these theories are full of flaw. But what is the source of perfect knowledge? Our Srimad Bhagavatam. Our Srimad Bhagavatam, it is already given us, right? Did Lord Buddha appear 2,500 years ago? Did he appear in Gaya? Yeah, he appeared. It all came true. So we have evidence that this is the factual evolution. So the creation It doesn't happen how, Darwin theorized. It happened according to how it's explained in Srimad Bhagavatam. And so these are all different personalities that are expanding from the Supreme Lord. So in the 7th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Krishna explains that everything is either his para or apara shakti. His superior spiritual energy or his inferior material energy. But everything is an expansion from Krishna. Right? Everything is an expansion from Krishna. Nothing comes from anywhere else. That is why he is Anadir Adir. He's the source of everything. So, this universe, when it creates and expands, it is also an expansion of his energy. And in one way, as Srila Prabhupada explains, the energy and the energetic, the source, are one and the same. Just like he would give the example of the sun rays. The sun rays cannot be separated from the sun. They are one and the same. But at the same time, they're not the same. You cannot say that the sun globe is the same as the sun rays. And this is simultaneously oneness and difference. This achintya beda beda tattva that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu explained to us. So, there are different types of expansions of the Lord, but we have to be very careful not to confuse them. Because if we confuse them, then we will become bewildered. So, there are plenary expansions of the Lord. What are plenary expansions of the Lord? Plenary is not a word we knew until Srila Prabhupada gave to us. Srila Prabhupada taught us many words. Transcendental. Who knew what transcendental was until Srila Prabhupada taught us that, right? Soul. We had no idea. Modes of nature, right? So many words Srila Prabhupada taught us. So plenary, it comes from the Latin word plenum, which means complete. So Krishna expands himself in many complete forms, plenary expansions. These are called Vishnu Tattvas. Like we have Pancha Tattva, right? Pancha Tattva Atmakam Krishnam Bhakta Rupa Swarupam Bhakta Avtaram Bhaktakyam Namami Bhakta Shaktikam. So you have these 5 Pancha Tattvas. So Krishna appeared as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. That is not an expansion. That is not a plenary expansion. That is Krishna himself appearing. So sometimes Krishna himself comes. But also he expanded himself as Bhakta Swarup. That is Lord Nityananda. And that is in the category of Vishnu Tattva. So fully potent expansion. Then Bhakta Avatar. That is Advaita Acharya. Also in the category of Vishnu Tattva. So in Vishnu Tattva, in Pancha Tattva, we have 3 Vishnu Tattvas. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as Krishna himself, Lord Nityananda as the first expansion of Krishna, Lord Baladev, and then Advaita Acharya, who is a combination of Mahavishnu and Sadashiva. So, now we have Bhakta Shaktikam, Gadadhar Pandit. Gadadhar Pandit is not Vishnu Tattva. He is Shakti Tattva. The energy expansion of the Lord. Like Srimati Radharani. She is the Haladini Shakti, the pleasure potency of the Lord manifested. It is a Shakti Tattva. Who else is in the category of Shakti Tattva? All the different Lakshmi Devis. Millions and millions of Lakshmi Devis. They are Shakti Tattva. The Gopis, they are expansions. The queens of Dwarka. So like this, they are all Shakti Tattva. Then we have Srivas Thakur. And what is his position? Huh? He is devotee. He is in the Jiva Tattva. So you can see, if you go to Mayapur, Shida Mayapur, when they worship Panchatattva, we should not confuse this. They offer tulsi leaves. Who they offer tulsi leaves to?
Vishnu.
Only to Vishnu Tattva. To Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Lord Nityananda, and will not offer to Shakti Tattva or Jiva Tattva. So these technical terms we need to know, because our worship should be in the right mood and not mixing these different categories. Right? Just like, when Guru comes, right? Guru is in a Jiva Tattva, but empowered. So this is a one at a time called a Shaktya-vesha, right? An empowered. Like Lord Brahma is a Shaktya-vesha expansion. So, like when worshipping Guru, for example, we don't put, you can see conventionally in India, sometimes they do this. They offer money to the feet of Guru. No, that is Lakshmi Devi going to the feet of? No. You can put money at the feet of Krishna. There's Lakshmi Devi at the feet of Krishna. Because that is her eternal position. Right? We don't offer tulsi leaves to the feet of Guru Tattva. So the point in understanding these different expansions is for us to understand, our consciousness, our mood in our worship and understanding. Right? So at the same time, for example, Guru Tattva. Krishna says that one should worship Guru in the same regard as they worship me, Krishna said. One should not offer lesser respect or think, oh, this is just Guru, this is Krishna. That is foolish. But one doesn't worship Guru as Krishna. And this, you see, sometimes conventionally confused. Because we don't have understanding of this tattva. That's why, Jiva Goswami has written so much on these in his tattva sandarbhas. Detail, so that we have clear conclusions in our consciousness. So these expansions are of different types. Right? Srila Prabhupada gives the example. So who are we? Let me continue and then I'll come to his example. We are Jiva Tattva. We are separated expansions from Krishna. So we are expansions also. But we are separated expansions. Separated in the sense that we have our eternal individual existence. Not separated in the sense that we have no relationship, but separated in that we have our eternal individual existence. Like when Matsya Avatar comes, when the pastime is completed, goes back. of course, will appear in another universe at that time when Matsya Avatar is supposed to come. But it is not an eternal, in the sense, entity. But the Jiva Tattva is an eternal entity. But it is a separated expanse. That is what Srila Prabhupada is referring to as his Vibhuti. Or this Vibhanamsha. So there are Shwamsha expansions. These are the direct expansions of the Lord. And they're separated. And Prabhupada gives a really nice example. He says like this, like the hand is part of the body, right? But the hand cannot be separated from the body. But the hair is part of the body. And if you cut the hair, it is now separated. But it is an expansion from the body. But you cannot cut the hand. But you can cut the hair. So use this kind of example, say that there are different parts or expansions from the Lord, but they are not of all the same nature. So we know everything is an expansion from the Lord. But they have different attributes, like Vishnu Tattva, like Shakti Tattva, Jiva Tattva. We also have Shambhu Tattva. Lord Shiva is a unique, single occupant of that Tattva. Only Lord Shiva has his own. Again, we won't get into details, but Shivratri is coming up, so we can discuss that in a couple of weeks, a few weeks. But this is the understanding. So, as said in this verse, the rishis, the manus, the demigods, they're all expansions of the Lord, and they came to perform a particular purpose. But these are very empowered expansions. So just because we are in the same category as Jiva Tattva of Lord Brahma, we should not think that we are equal to Lord Brahma. Right? He is a very empowered. That's why Lord Srila Prabhupada would often say, from Brahmaji down to the insignificant ant. Because the ant is also Jiva Tattva. He's also Jiva Tattva. But Lord Brahmaji is carrying the very empowered position of Jiva Tattva. But we should not confuse Lord Brahma with Vishnu Tattva. And thus our worship, our mood of service has to be calibrated according to the type of expansions. We'll talk more about this in second canto of Srimad Bhagavatam as well. So just a little bit about this verse. And then tomorrow we have a very famous verse in which Krishna is going to explain, or Shukadeva is going to say, Krishna tu Bhagavan Swayam. Famous verse that Krishna is the source of all these incarnations, and establishing without a doubt who is superior, Lord Vishnu or Lord Krishna. So that will become discussed tomorrow. Also tomorrow is the glorious appearance day of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. So we'll discuss tomorrow about his glories. I imagine as once we start discussing his glories, we may not get too much of this verse, so we may carry this verse on to Tuesday as well. Because the glories of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur are vast and very important to us as followers of Srila Prabhupada. So we'll celebrate tomorrow his appearance day in morning class. Granthara Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Srila Prabhupada ki. Any comments, realizations, questions? Yes?
So we had a question come up during our retreat as well too, but so Radharani Shakti, so that's why Motsu is offered to him. But also then the question was why she does not have tilak.
Why she what?
Does not wear tilak.
I don't know the specific reason why she's not wearing tilak, like in the Shakti Tattva, but what the tilak represents, right? for us, obviously, is we use the dust from the gopis as gopi chandan to mark our forehead with this tilak, and the loop represents the foot of Krishna, and the leaf represents Tulsi Maharani. Right? So, but why Srimati Radharani doesn't wear tilak, I don't know. There must be some scriptural injunction there, but I'm not familiar with that. But she is Shakti Tattva. She is the energy of Krishna. Remember, Srimati Radharani is Prabhupada explains to us, it is not like our boy-girl relationships between Jiva Tattvas. This is one person manifested in two. Krishna's internal Haladini Shakti, we experience pleasure only because the presence of the pleasure potency. So the personification of his pleasure potency is Srimati Radharani. Again, we struggle to understand these concepts because we can't manifest things like this. Right? We can make widgets and cars and other nonsense things in our factories, but we can't manifest our pleasure potency. We don't have. But so Srimati Radharani and Krishna are one, but they're manifested two. So we need to see them like that. Again, we discuss this always during Radhashtami, that we see them as that. And she is the personification of Krishna's pleasure potency. Personification means that just like, the rivers have a person who represents that river. There's a personification of Yamuna Devi, of Ganga, of the sun planet, right? Like that, there's a personification of her as energy. So when we observe their pastimes, we have to take it in that context. Otherwise, we'll apply our mundane vision to those pastimes. Yes, bro?
Oh, can you explain this plenary portion or portion of the plenary portion?
Yeah. So the plenary portions, again, this is full and complete expansions. So for example, let's just carry on, Matsya Avatar comes, right? That is a plenary expansion. Now, Matsya Avatar will not demonstrate all of its potency. But it's full, it's complete. But it may only show a portion of his potency. Because for the purpose by which, where Matsya appears, but we should not think it is a lesser avatar. So that's why it's called a plenary portion. And we see this given about the candles, right? One candle lights many candles. They all burn with equal light. So that's the plenary portions. Then the portions of the plenary portions are these sub-expansions. So they can be Satyavesha avatar. The Jiva Tattvas are a portion of the plenary, right? Because we come from the Supreme Lord. Everything comes from the Supreme Lord, right? But remember, the Jiva Tattva is considered marginal. Why? Because it's originally spiritual potency, but because it chooses to engage with material energy, it sits in between. But actually, its pure state is spiritual potency. Okay? Whereas, earth, air, fire, water, ether, these are also expansions from Krishna. Where else it would come from? Right? But it is the Apada Shakti. It is the lower energy. It's dull. It has no life. Right? It has no feature. Only by the presence of the superior spiritual, our body Without the presence of the spirit energy, it is dead matter, like this iPhone holder, like this microphone. It's dead matter. This whole body is dead matter. The only reason it has seemingly life is by the presence of the spiritual energy. So when Krishna creates, through Karanadakshay Vishnu, the whole universe, right? The Mat Tattva is manifest with all the ingredients. But still nothing happens. Because the ingredients are all inert matter. But by the glance of Mahavishnu, it comes into motion by the energy of the Lord. So the spiritual energy is always required. And that spiritual, those expansions are of different categories, right? So that's the plenary portion and the portion of the plenary portion.
So Manvantara is a portion from the portion.
Manvantara is also a portion. Because Manus are in the Jiva Tattva category.
So Lila avatars would be the plenary portions?
Well, I was just going to... So there are 6 types of avatars, right? We have the Purusha avatars, the Guna avatars, the Shaktivesh avatar, Lila avatars, like this Manvanta avatars, right? So Manus are a Manvanta avatar. Right? But Lord Brahma is a Guna avatar and a Shaktivesh avatar. So one can be of 2. So they're not all fit into a nice box, right? But again, for example, we know Lord Brahma also, when there is no qualified Jiva Tattva to assume the post of Brahma, Lord Vishnu himself occupies that post.
That is a portion of plenary.
No, that is plenary portion. Because that is Vishnu Tattva, occupying the position of Brahmaji. But when that position of Brahmaji is occupied by a Jiva Tattva, it is... So we have to separate post from person. With person, we have to understand where they fall. Are they Vishnu Tattva? Are they Shakti Tattva? Are they Jiva Tattva? Or Shambhu Tattva? Right? We should not confuse Lord Shiva to be the Supreme Lord. Because he is an expansion. But he is not a plenary expansion. So we cannot put Lord Shivji in the same category as the Vishnu Tattvas. Nor should we equate Shivji to the Jiva Tattva, to Lord Brahma, or the demigods. And there is mathematical, right? So Krishna possesses 64 qualities, principal qualities. Lord Vishnu has 60. Lord Shiva has 55. And Lord Brahma has 50. Jiva Tattva, up to Lord Brahma. So 50, 55, 60, 64. So they are not the same.
And this knowledge is so required. A couple of years ago, one of our family relatives, friend, they were doing Ganesh Puja, and they were offering Bhoga to Ganesh. And they were offering Tulsi on the board. And I said, why offering Tulsi? No, I think you should not offer. There's a little bit. So I think this knowledge is so subtle, but it's so important. I think.
Very, very important.
Very important, because we can make offense unknowingly.
Yeah, because see, our consciousness is not, we don't understand what it is, then we don't put in the right context, right? Like on the altar, we see different representations, For example, the conch, right? what is the conch?
That's
It is Lakshmi Devi, right? So we don't put the conch face down. Why? Because the opening is her mouth. Her mouth, we don't put our mouth on the ground. So we put up. The top is the head. Okay? So even how it's positioned is based on where it is, right? Where do we put Guru Parampara in relation to Krishna? Right? We don't put Guru Parampara above Krishna. Right? Even though we understand spiritually that we're supposed to worship in the same, but they're not the same. But our respect should be, because Guru Tattva is what enables us to obtain the mercy of Krishna. Right? As we said, we don't put tulsi leaves on the feet of Srimati Radharani, but we put tulsi leaves on the feet of Krishna. We offer tulsi leaves to Lord Balaram and Lord Jagannath, but not to Mother Subhadra. Right? But we offer tulsi leaves to Lord Nityananda, because he is expansion. Right? So our worship, peacock feathers. Right? Where do we offer peacock feathers? We don't offer peacock feather on the head of Srimati Radharani.
on Radha's
Not on Radhasmini. Gopashtami Day.
Radha's
Only on Gopashtami. That's because she's in disguise. Right? So, when we understand these details, then we can decipher, how to make sure that we don't. Like you made this comment about, Tulsi. So like when we do, Prabhupada Vyas Puja or Guru Vyas Puja, to put Tulsi on or not. So there are two consciousnesses we can apply. But if our consciousness is right, it's okay. So one consciousness is we are doing the offering and we put Tulsi. Because Guru is going to offer that to Krishna.
So it's okay.
If that is our understanding, that Guru is offering this to Krishna, then he will take as prasad. Or that we are offering to Krishna and then offering to Guru. So to offer to Krishna, it must accompany Tulsi. Right? But we should not offer Tulsi in the idea that I'm offering to Guru. Understand? So it's based on our consciousness has to follow the technicalities. Because if we don't, then we make mistakes. We make mistakes. Any other comments? Yes, please.
So, Lord Brahma, it's like a body, and whoever occupies that body, it's called Lord Brahma. Sometimes Lord Krishna himself occupies the body, and sometimes some jiva with his piousness occupies the body.
I won't use the word body, I would use the word post. It's a position, right? Just like mayor of the city. Different people occupy that position. Right? Because Lord Brahma, as Jiva Tattva, is born, but also dies. So he has a material body, made up of earth, air, fire, water, ether, just like us. But a highly purified material body. Thus he can live for such a long period. Not the same type of body we have. But when Lord Vishnu occupies, he doesn't have that same position. Right? So the Brahmanji is it's a post, a position that's occupied by different persons, different tattvas. So that's just specific. And again, let's put back into context. What is the purpose for knowing these details, these technical details? It's to set our consciousness right in the worship. But at the end of the day, if that doesn't enthuse our chanting of the holy names, no value. So this knowledge should propel us deeper and deeper into the chanting of the holy names. And that's why we try to, parse out these details and make an understanding. Because otherwise, again, in the worship, we can make different mistakes unintentionally. Okay? Any other comment? Yes, please.
The Tulsi leaves, some people they used to use for puja, for Navagraha puja.
No. Huh?
Navagraha puja.
Yeah, the demigods.
Yeah, they are demigods, right? So they make some garlands and they use for ritual. That is wrong, right?
You'll see, again, in Panchatattva, you'll never see Gadadhar Pandit wearing Tulsi garland. You'll only see Tulsi garland on Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Lord Nityananda, Nivedacharya. You won't see Shivas Thakur or Gadadhar Pandit wearing Tulsi garland. Because Tulsi Maharani is a devotee expansion serving Krishna. So that is a mix. So in demigod worship, why devotee would be involved? Devotee doesn't worship demigods. Krishna says, those with Vidya Gyan, those whose intelligence is stolen, worship the demigods. Why? Because in fact they are worshipping me, but worshipping me indirectly, in the wrong way, he says. That is not my opinion, your opinion, Prabhupada's opinion. No, that is Krishna's statements in Bhagavad Gita. He says one should not worship the demigods, but one must respect the demigods because they are elevated Jiva Tattvas. If you are a Krishna Bhakta, you say, oh, that's just a demigod. That is offensive. No, you can say, no, but Krishna said, Ritigyan, your intelligence is stolen. Yes, worship and respect are two different things.
We respect.
We have to respect. The Paramahamsa respects even the ant on the street. What to speak of some elevated demigod who we recognize as a dear servant of Krishna, performing some administrative functions. But if I worship the demigod, thinking that I have to worship this demigod to get something, what am I doing? I am saying Krishna is not complete. Om Purnam Adaha Purnamidam. Why? Because I'm saying this demigod has something that Krishna doesn't have.
Then why do we have Ganesh and Hanumanji?
Because we respect their position. Hanumanji is dear Bhakta of Lord Ramchandra. So we worship, we respect and love Hanumanji as dear Bhakta. Lord Ganesh as having written all of our Shastra at the dictation of Vyasadeva. But I don't worship as God. And this mixing.
But we can worship Ganesh, we can pray Ganesh that remove my obstacles in the path of bhakti.
You can if you understand one thing. Who is the chief remover of obstacles in our bhakti?
Krishna.
Krishna. Nothing anyone can do that doesn't come from. This is the meaning of Anadi Radir. So Krishna is complete. So when we feel obligated, I have to worship, what we are indirectly but directly saying, we're creating an offense to Krishna. Because saying you can't give this, but this person can. So we can respect Ganeshji as the remover of obstacles to connect one to Krishna. But we should not confuse that who is the ultimate remover of our obstacles? Krishna. Where Ganeshji is getting the empowerment to remove our obstacles? From Krishna. So we can worship Lord Shiva as Vaishnavanam Yatha Shambhu, the dearmost Vaishnava. Lord Shiva, please give me the attachment to the holy names that you have. You are Ashutosh, easily pleased. Why I would worship you for wealth when you are living as an ascetic in the forest? I am worshiping you for something that you have. What do you have? Taste for chanting the holy names. Then my worship becomes powerful.
So is the knowledge. If you have knowledge.
You have to know and not make an offense. If you go to your neighbor's house to eat because you think your mother will not make you that food, how your mother will feel? She'll be happy? No. Because my child is going and feeling I am not providing. So how Krishna is going to feel in that regard? But Krishna is so forgiving, He doesn't take anything. But we should not, because He gives clear instruction. Don't do it. Why? He says, Mam Ekam. What does Mam Ekam mean? One. One. But at the same time, we have full respect for all. So in Mam Ekam, do not become dismissive. Oh, these are just them. No, that is most offensive. But our worship, our surrender is one.
How do you understand Gopi, they go to Devi and praying Devi to give for Krishna. But they are worshiping Devi for Krishna. How do you understand that?
Exactly the point. You worship Lord Shiva for Krishna, to get Krishna's taste of holy names.
But they worship, no respect in worship.
You can worship even Lord Shiva. You can offer Abhishek to Shivling.
And then for Krishna.
For the purpose of acquiring what he has, which is taste of the holy names. So that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, every time when he traveled all throughout India, he would take darshan of many Shivlings. Knowing why? Because he is the protector of Dham. He is the guard keeper of the holy Dhams. So we must first take blessings from Lord Shivji, then enter. So again, our consciousness has to be grounded in Shastra. But what happens is, I have to say this, I'm just going to be blunt. We follow these family traditions, but we don't know the understanding of the why. And they've become confused in time. And then what happens is we do them ritualistically. We do them mechanically. And if we do that, we are going to not will create offenses, but will also not get the full value of that worship. So we must do, we do Lakshmi Puja. I'm not doing Lakshmi Puja to get money, but that's why Lakshmi Puja is done. Doing Lakshmi Puja to honor and worship Lakshmi Devi, the dear servant of Lord Vishnu. But Lakshmi Devi never comes without Narayan. But we want Lakshmi and not Narayan. Give me some wealth and let me enjoy my eating, sleeping, mating, defending. This is foolish. It doesn't work because Lakshmi Devi is never separated from Narayan. So, these principles we keep very clear in our worship. Then, and it goes further to the, worship of the deities. When we worship the deities, we should understand this is the Supreme Lord that we are worshiping. So then our whole consciousness becomes clear. What to do, what not to do, how to prepare them, for their darshan, what they're doing, when we are offering boga. One time I was serving in Vrindavan, and on the altar they have a table where they put the offerings, and they put 2 cushions where Radharani sits and where Krishna sits. And they put the cushions, and then you invite them through mantras. And so I invited them through mantras and everything. And I was just being trained. Someone was showing me how to worship. And when I got up, I stepped over the cushion to go to the altar. Why? Because I was stupid. I chanted all the mantras, I invited Idam Asanam Kum Krishnaya Namaha, and I didn't realize that Krishna was sitting on the cushion. Because I was ritualistic. So, when we have this clarity, then we don't make those types of mistakes. But I learned. And I haven't, that consciousness changed. Because someone yelled at me. It was good, for my good. Okay, I promised short class and now it's 9:12. I knew this was going to happen. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnava ki jai. I'm a liar.